What's going on, blurs, nerds, and everybody in between? It's your boy Wyatt, the sensei of the syndicate, paladin of the poor, and duke of the drink. I had too much of it on Sunday for the drink and draw, but it was a wonderful time. So definitely you should check us out on there. But we are here with the BS, and today we're talking about a really fun topic. We are talking about villains. We're going to talk about our favorite villains, our villains that aren't so great that maybe people think are really good, but maybe aren't that all that great. So before I go ahead and do that, I wanted to go ahead and introduce my left hand, my one of my ring generals, KB. How you doing?
I am good. I just finished watching Jujutsu Kaisen Zero on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, get into it.
See, I haven't watched it yet. That's something I'm going to watch later on tonight. Okay. Because upper management works nights, so I try to stay up with her, and so I try to watch stuff. So it was really, really good.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
I got that one on the list. I got to start getting my happy movies kind of to offset what's going to happen in October, because in October on next week's with the BS, I'm going to have everybody give me their suggestions on horror movies that I should watch, because for 31 days straight, I'm going to watch a horror movie and I'm going to give a review on it. So I'm going to see how that is. So I'm even going to go to certain movies, because fall time is about that time where they have all those crazy horror movies going on.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna get a list, and we'll see how it works out from there. So
I hope you enjoy being scared. I'm gonna sit that round out. There's a handful I'm gonna get into though, because I know Jeepers Creepers just came out. So yeah. I started that journey regretfully, and I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah, see, I've gone and I've started to watch some of those like possession like movies. So like The Conjuring was one that I was really getting into, and there's some other ones that are crazy too. But we'll see, and I'll we'll see how everybody's list, and I'll take 31 of those and have it go from there. So
I mean, I can help you put together a list. I'm just not going to vouch for whether or not they're any good, because I probably haven't seen them.
Well, that's a-okay too, because horror movies are not my thing, but we're gonna check them out, see what happens from there, get to what's shaking. So today we are talking villains, KB. But before we talk villains, I want everybody to be like the Hulk. I want them to smash that follow button, and I want them to follow us we're actually on podcasting now too. So iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So anywhere you get your podcast at, you can go and see us here at the BS. So definitely come check us out if you can't stay up late with us. Because I understand people got to go to work in the morning. So definitely check us out.
Right, we everywhere, baby.
Yes. So KB, when you think of a good villain, what kind of qualities do they have to have?
It depends on how the story is rolling for me, because I kind of like a gamut of villains. Sometimes I like my villain to be irredeemable. I don't want you to have good qualities, but I do want you to have human qualities. Because you got to be able to relate, I think, to parts of your hero, but you also should be able to relate to parts of your villain. Conceivably seeing why this person is the way that they are, if your story is going to be any good. Sometimes I just want my villain to show up and just, kill people. It ain't got to be complex. It ain't got to be a whole lot of fanfare with it. But if I'm really into the story, then yeah, I want to be able to connect with my villains in some way. Why are you the way that you are? I don't want you to be saved, because you're not a hero. You're a villain.
That's true too. So
I'm not feeling the whole maybe they can be redeemed. No, I don't want redemption. I want chaos.
So how do you feel about Loki though?
I never really saw Loki as a true villain.
Okay.
just because he really does kind of play back and forth on things, and he's kind of always been that way. Like I know he started as a villain with the comics, but there really were times where he was kind of interchangeable. So I don't like him as a villain. I don't think he's a very compelling one. He just
I
seems like a tragic story sometimes.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing. Like you mentioned beforehand, you have to have like sometimes balance, and you have to have like a good backstory. Some of it. So I think one person that does a good job in the MCU, but in in the comics, he was just a simp. Was Thanos. So Thanos definitely, like, you saw why he was doing what he did, even though you may not agree with it. You kind of could respect where he was coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially during Infinity War.
So I see where you're going with simp. Here's my problem with that. Typically, simps are non-violent and non-aggressive, and they just kind of honestly pointless. Thanos, his whole thing, yes, it was to impress a woman, but it was to impress Death specifically. All of that carnage that he did was twofold. One, because he really is just that big of an asshole, but the other part was to impress a woman. And simp just doesn't feel right, because it wasn't like simp-ish so much as it was rage. Like Deadpool was courting her too, and he was losing.
So can you say that he had simp tendencies? Can you
I
agree
can
with?
say that, but I can't outright
Okay.
call him one, because most simps, like I said, are non-dangerous, and that man is the opposite, complete opposite of non-dangerous.
He reminds me of somebody that got rejected a lot as a kid, and then after that he's like, I'm gonna go work out. And then after that, then he came back and was like, nobody's gonna tell baby no now.
I mean, you're not wrong, because that's literally what happened. His whole family rejected him because he was ugly and tried to kill him, basically. And he was like, oh,
Y'all
okay.
talking about Thanos and death?
Yeah. And after that, he was like, I want smoke with the universe.
So he's a good one from there. I get, so what, when you have villain characters, you don't like to see like the redeemable qualities, correct? Is that what you were saying,
Correct.
JB?
Like, I want you to be human. Don't get me wrong. Because I feel like, especially if it's story driven, if it's just kind of one of those like action type deals where I'm just wanting to see stuff get blown up, I don't really care about all that. But if I'm actually here for the story, then yes, my villain needs to be human as far as like emotional scope and capacity. There needs to be a why behind what you're doing, and the why needs to make sense. It can't just be, oh, you broke my heart, so now I'm about to kill everyone. Like that. That's not necessarily a logical leap here. Don't get me wrong, has it happened? Have people done it? Yes, but it was usually more than one heartbreak, and it was also people not treating them right. Like if you look at Demon Slayer, the sibling pair, if you look at how that lined up, literally no one in their life prior to Michael Jackson's animated version treated them with any type of decency.
That's fact.
And it's weird to say, because he's a terrible person, but in terms of being terrible, he said, hey, the world has treated you poorly. Let me show you what it's like to have power and make the world beg. So he treated them with a form of decency that they had never seen. It wasn't human decency, but it was a law of the jungle that they respected. And then you turn around, and Tanjiro, even when he's doing what he's doing, he's still praying for their souls. He's still treating them with decency, even after everything that they've done, which is why they kind of teared up and were the way that they were. And that, to me, was good storytelling, because you see how the world treated them. You understand how we got to this point, because literally the world basically said, we don't care about you. And they said, bet. And it made sense for them to act the way that they acted.
I agree. And it didn't hurt that they had some bomb ass animation. Didn't hurt about that.
But yeah, like just like with your hero needs to have a why, and the why needs to matter. Your villain is equally as important. And I'm gonna say this until my dying breath. Your hero is only as good as your villains.
I totally agree. I think I was saying this I think a couple nights ago that like if your antagonist is bad, then your movie is going to be bad, or your like you said, your storyline is going to be bad, because like if you don't have anybody that has any real character to stand up to maybe the same ideals that you're going against. One thing that was like a really good like example of that was like when Daredevil was going against Punisher, and they had different ideals on how they should dole out justice. And it was like, okay, well, you shouldn't kill. Well, I'm not gonna kill, but I do kill, and that's wrong. Well, how is this any different than what you're doing? Beating people up on the street. So it's definitely one of those that I enjoyed.
Yeah, like your storytelling matters, and those components to me are very important. Like, I need my villains to do something that is irredeemable, but I also need them to be human.
That's good. So I'm sorry, and Marcus has been here for like a grand total of like 4 minutes, and we just kept going. So I want to say what's up to the Husky Hokage, 1/3 of Things People Don't Say podcast. How you living, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just interested in the conversation. Like I said, that's why I didn't mind. You guys were talking about a good subject. Like we're talking about villains, so it definitely had to be here for this. But
so when you guys think of like a good television villain, who comes to mind for you guys? Television, comics, anybody. You can just give me a good villain.
A good villain, just like. So it's, I mean, just off rip for me, just come you can come with Star Wars and say Darth Vader. Like Darth Vader is an excellent villain, even though he was low key kind of tricked into becoming who he was. But Darth Vader is a good villain, bro. Like, and in the movies, you don't see how. In the movies, you don't see how dangerous or how powerful. You don't really see a major display of how dangerous or how powerful he really is or whatever. Until if you go watch Rogue One, if you watch Rogue One, the end of Rogue One, when he comes on the ship,
he played no games, bro.
You see how dangerous or how ruthless he was. Like he didn't care. That if you played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, you see, like I was playing that game and he scared the shit out of me. Like I had to pause the game. Like hold up, like. But I love Darth Vader, man. He's a really, he's a good villain. He has some, this how he became Darth Vader or tricked into being him. And then later on, you kind of see him do, he goes through his redemption, in Return of the Jedi or whatever, or tries to have some type of redemption. But yeah,
I still don't think you can redeem yourself after you done killed kids. That's one thing. That's one thing I still don't understand why there was a space ghost of Anakin on that one, because he went through and just like slice and dice kids.
Oh, I mean, he literally like he
chop suey.
Just man, the meme, the term or the meme, fuck them kids is that's it right there.
That is the epitome of fuck them kids. One that I like or I don't like, I still despise is Frieza. Frieza is, but see, and I don't like the fact that they tried to make him like, oh, well, we have to work together to work with the bad guy, otherwise the universe is going to explode. Fuck him. I'd rather give me Yamcha so that we can be able, at least I know Yamcha ain't gonna stab me in the back, and he not gonna call me a nigga.
Basically, that's what Frieza does. Anytime he uses the term "those damn monkeys," you like, hold up, bro. You said that with a little too much conviction in you, like you.
Yep, they were because if you think about it, Saiyans were just space slaves. You know what I'm saying? Because like they'd have to go out, do this, bring this back, or space hoes. Maybe space hoes would be better. Because then after that, they had to go out, get the planet, come back. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, Frieza was like, "Where's my planet at, bitch?"
Basically. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
Saiyans were space hoes.
But
is this a moon, bitch? Oh, I told you to bring me back a planet.
You know, Frieza has that high pitch, that voice.
Mm-hmm.
But
then I didn't trust the fact that they didn't have junk or pants. Pants or junk. You got to have both, preferably. You know what I mean?
Maybe I don't know. I'm not even gonna get into that to the optics of breaking down, breaking it down. Who was I gonna say? One of my other favorite villains, you know, just off rip is it's the Joker. Like, you know, that's easily one of the, if not, I ain't gonna say the best villain, like just overall, like one of the best people at being like bad and just overall, bro. Like, yeah, but yeah, Joker's up there for me.
So I'm gonna say this: I think Joker gets a lot more credit than what he deserves sometimes. I think because everybody likes Batman, so therefore they have to find somebody to do something to do that. Because like, now, don't get me wrong, he's done some crazy stuff. But I know I sent everybody in the group a TikTok about the Reverse Flash.
Oh yeah,
and how he was like far worse. Like he killed his brother because he was more successful than him. Like he had a crush on a girl, and because he had a crush on this girl, he killed everybody that she had a crush on. Then after that, made her a paraplegic, and then left her. The other thing was like the big one was like with Barry Allen. He went ahead, killed his mom, made it look like a dad did, make like your dad did it, so that he grew up by himself. And then there was some petty shit in there too. So it wasn't even just big shit. Oh. Like they said that one time Barry was trying to catch a ball. It was a really big play and things like that. He made him miss the ball. Who does that? Who got time to do that shit? Hey, you go break the whole time force continuum just to be like, made you mess up.
I mean, you can't. I mean, that's like I said. I mean, Reverse Flash is not because I watched it. Reverse Flash really did some really fucked up shit, and it's, I would say for me, because it's like too bad. Well, if like, I know the Joker is just one of the main ones people pull, you know, because they like Batman. One of my I would say one of the other ones I love is also I like the, you know, you can throw a Riddler in there as well, like for the Batman villain. But I know, like with the Joker, like you said, Reverse Flash did some shit, like just some of the Joker stuff that he did. You know, not the fact that, you know, he just one of the main things, he killed Jason Todd. The fact that he paralyzed
Barbara
Gordon, and on top of that, I think it was the Killing Joke where he made like her dad Jim Gordon watch her strip or something. It was something crazy. Like it's Joker's have done some wild shit as well. But like, yeah, Reverse Flash, he could definitely be up there. Like DC and their villains is some, a lot of them is something else. That was one of my favorite DC villains is Black Manta though. I love Black Manta. Like the fact that, you know, I think Aquaman killed his dad or something like that, and he killed Aquaman's son. Like they've been beefing hard, bro.
Yeah. KB, what about you?
The Joker is definitely my favorite villain, but with that being said, it also depends on when you pick up a comic. I think that a lot of people are. I'm a Batman fan strictly because I prefer his villains to him. Because I keep hearing, Batman does all this without having powers. Bro, your villains will also get clapped by any of those regular heroes on any given hour of any given day. Like, his villains really aren't that impressive in terms of power set. Like, Batman's most powerful villains are also villains of the Justice League as a whole. So I'm not trying to hear that argument for Batman being great. But as far as the Joker being a great villain, my thing with him is, it really wasn't about revenge on anything, depending on when you pick him up. It had nothing to do with wanting to actually control the world for real. It's literally just chaos energy.
Yes.
His whole thing is just anarchy and chaos. And that, to me, made him different from what we were seeing at the time. And so that's why I really like the Joker, especially when you start getting into like the philosophical aspects of some of the things that go on with him. Like, The Dark Knight, that's why I liked that script and that story. Is just really, Joker didn't want to do anything other than just fuck with people because there was no other motive for him. Whereas with everyone else, it was power, it was money and influence. He didn't care about none of that. His only point was to prove that there is no point. I also like Carnage on Marvel's end, again, because Cassidy is unhinged.
Very much so.
And there is no redemption for this type of character, and he doesn't want to be redeemed.
Just with a name like Cletus Cassidy. Like you just
that's a
something
problem.
wrong. Yeah, you just something off about it. Like I don't I've been in class. Cletus Cassidy, out of look. I'm about to go. I'll see y'all later. I don't want to be nowhere near him.
This ain't gonna work for me. But again, I like those characters that are kind of unhinged.
Yeah.
On a more subtle end, well, not even a subtle end. Reverse Flash, I told you he is actually on my list. Because of the pettiness and the twistedness of this man. Like, why are you the way that you are, sir? Because like you said, he killed every single crush that chick had, and then turned around and was like, "You still don't love me? All right, I'm gonna break your legs and your spine. Love me now." And then he was like, "You still don't love me? That's fine. It was just a crush, and I'm over you. You'll be alone." The baseball game, he literally just went back, moved Barry's arm, and then went back to what he was doing, and then was basically like, "I'm gonna make you an orphan, and then I'm gonna adopt you, and you'll be my child." Like, that man is a menace. Like, it's absolute terror. But I also like stories where sometimes your villain may not be, what they're doing is wrong, but they're doing it for the right reasons. Like, because John Boyega is actually about to be in a movie that's like that, where he's a veteran that was supposed to get money, and for whatever reason they denied his claim. So he basically went to the bank and he was like, "All I want is the money that I'm owed." Like, clearly he's the villain because he's holding a bank hostage. But like, he's a bad guy in terms of how the story plays out. But your bad guy is doing what he's doing because the world has basically screwed him so hard. Like, he's just trying to get what he's owed. If you look at John Q, technically John is the villain of that movie. But if you look at his motivations, they're not really rooted in being a villain. It's his villain origin story. And so if it's story driven, that's how I like my villains. I like there to be reasons. I like the complexity and the depth. But if it's really just about having a good time and just going to watch shit go to hell, then give me my Carnages, give me my Jokers.
I got one. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure. What you got?
All right. So you remember the girl from Shield Hero?
Yeah.
That's a villain, and I hate her. I hate everything about her.
I was about to call her by a new name, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's she's up there.
That's not even a good villain. That's just a villain. Like, I did not find her to be a good villain. I just found her annoying. It honestly put me off of the story I just did not like her. It took me a while to go back and watch it because I was just so angry.
If we're gonna go with so another villain I like, I can kind of understand. Maybe not say understand, but some I can kind of get a little bit from where he's coming from. Is dang it, I can't think his name. The guy from My Hero that has the wears the handle. I can't say Shikigami, whatever his name is. His power way.
Yeah,
he's a leader. So like his story is he was not All Might, but All Might's mentor. It was her grandson or something like that, and he got basically left in the system. Was taken, and I think he killed. His powers developed. He killed his family, on accident. Just imagine. Out of nowhere, you get these powers, and anything you touch basically decays. So it's like he no one to help him, no one there. All Might didn't come save him, and then he gets picked up by not Awful. It was One for All, One for All or whatever, and he basically, hey, I got you, and it's like I gotta understand why he's angry, he's upset, he wants, the stuff he's because I'm reading the manga, so
this guy,
him. I can't think of how you pronounce his name now, but
Shigari, something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, I can understand where his pain comes from, and the fact of how, like I said, killed his family. No. All Might, the person who would have thought to be there for him didn't show up, and now he's the point he's at now, he's basically wrecking shop. But yeah, I would say I'm referring from the manga. It hasn't came out in the anime yet, but it's gonna get really good.
You know who else was a really good but bad villain? Madara Uchiha. I understand, but then after that, it's bro, you could have gone about this a whole different way. Come on. This was unnecessary. And he was I'm thinking of a master player, and that's all that I care about. And so that was his thing. Definitely not the way I would have gone about it. But he was like, hey.
I mean, they got the results.
But the one person I thought was a true villain in the Naruto series was the second Hokage and the third Hokage.
The third is definitely a fucking villain. Because
there's absolutely no reason why you should treat a child like that. Especially one that kind of saved, everybody. And then just to be racist and then be oh, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and treat this whole group of people one way, and it's not going to be fun.
Trying to think. If we're talking anime villains, I'm trying to think who else is it's a really, really good one. So Madara is a good one. One I like, even is probably, and it's mostly just the whole saga. Cell was a good one. You can put Cell up there. I like Cell.
He was an asshole, you know what I mean?
That's why I like Cell.
Yeah, he was an asshole. But then after that, he was everybody knows that one asshole that just does stuff just because oh, it's gonna be funny, or I'm gonna do this because I can, and nobody can stop me.
That's basically what it was. That's probably the reason I like. That's what the only reason. Well, not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons I like Cell. It's the simple fact he was an asshole.
He really was and I won't say for no reason because genetically he was designed to be that way.
Yeah,
but it was just kind of he was a weird villain to me because like clearly you are the bad guy, but bro, you really just here to fight. Like that's really all this is about. Is y'all want to box somewhere? Like I don't even think he really wanted to destroy the world. That was just the objective he was programmed with. This man really just wanted to fight.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to he wasn't on the level of destroying everything like Frieza was. Frieza was basically like said, I want this planet is mine. I want this planet.
He was just a genderless space pimp. One of his planets. That's what I'm gonna call him. He's a space pimp. And one of his planets. And the sands were the space hoes.
Monkeys better have my planets.
Is this a moon, bitch? I can't believe you done brought me a motherfucking moon. Let me call my brother Cooler. Cooler? Can you believe this bullshit? Let's see. So
what makes a bad villain to you guys? Like, what makes for a villain that you don't care about? Like, what has to happen there?
Basically, kind of what you was. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was kind of what you were saying before, where they're just basically they're just there. Like they're until we know. I'll put it like that. Until we know this. It has to be a good story, like you just said. They have to have a good story. Now, like you said, there's certain ones where if all they're about is just causing chaos, I'm gonna take them as that. But it's just the ones that basically they have a story, or their story is just not compelling, I guess, if you want to say. But or the reason for them being the way they are is partly their fault or something like that. I can't. I just be like, like you're just mad or you upset. Like get out your feelings, basically. If I can look at you and be like, get out your feelings as a villain, like you really, it's something I can't really vibe with.
I'm gonna say when they're like the negative or the opposite version, the negative version of a said character, like I don't like Bizarro. I don't like the ones where like literally they felt like placeholder, villains where they need somebody to, let's put this person in here just because they ain't got nothing else to do. And then they just are. Let me look I'm looking at my wall to see who I don't like.
That's hilarious.
Like Man Bat. I don't like that. I don't like him. I like the fact that they fleshed out some more of Bane. I
love Bane. Bane is cool.
I actually like Man Bat, but I feel like Man Bat is one of those villains that again wasn't quite supposed to be a villain. It just kind of happened that he's a villain.
Yeah.
And because Clayface, I feel like that with Clayface too. Like, I don't think you were supposed to be a villain. You just had such a raw deal that you had no choice but to be a villain. Like at this point, you're a giant mutated bat. What else are you gonna do except cause problems? Because nobody's gonna help you.
That's facts. But you shouldn't have been doing the shit yourself though, too. You know what I mean? Because he was shooting himself up.
Yeah.
But then after that, the wife. So this is how I know that we were really lucky to grow up that when we did, because Batman the animated series gave you where all villains weren't just villains for no reason. They wasn't bad to be just bad. Like I loved how, like when it came for Two-Face, his story and how he was going through like multiple personality disorder, and he was going through it, and then after that you saw the transition, and then he got the acid thrown on his face, then that just solidified him to a certain extent. That was the thing that made it so it was like, oh damn, that's horrible, you know what I'm saying? And then but in the same instance, after a while you're like, okay, bro, you making these choices. You know what I'm saying? Like this is on you to a certain extent.
It's on.
Like you can't just be, robbing, the second bake on a Tuesday just because, you're compelled to.
He flips that coin. That's what the coin say, man. You gotta flip that coin.
Listen. You need to find Jesus. It's something else, bro. You just can't be over here like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And that was the one thing that, like we said, I think all of Phase 4, because KB, you have been talking about how all of their problems could have really been solved by just doing therapy. Like same thing that I think about even with the Thor movie that was most recently come out. Shang-Chi, all of these people, you know what I mean? Therapy could solve a lot of these issues.
Right. And I'm going to stand on that. Phase 4 is a mental health PSA.
I can see that. I will say the Mandarin and from Shang, if you want to call him, whatever you want to call him. But I can see the therapy too, but I also can understand like I can understand his pain. Like I was ready. Basically, I was moving, conquering shit. I'm doing, moving, making shit happen. But I changed. Basically, I went from a life of crime. I changed my whole life for you, for this one person, and I don't know where this person gets taken away from me. So you know what? Oh shit! Oh, like that my heart broke. I can't get you back. Oh, I'm about to fuck everybody up. Like I'm going back the way where I was times
you're
4.
A key component here, though. You're missing a very key component.
What's that?
That demon was speaking to him from the other side of the wall, compelling him to do what he was doing. Had he gone to therapy because he was hearing fucking voices, he wouldn't have been there.
Did the demons was because from my not from my understanding, I know that, but I was saying, but I didn't think that was until later on. Like
it wasn't until later. Yeah, it wasn't until later on.
It didn't happen right after, like when he was when he started training Shang-Chi to be be an assassin and stuff like that.
That was grief and everything that was moving him then, but he had been hearing her voice for a minute. He was hearing her voice for a while, because that's when he started looking at trying to take over stuff, because he was slowly trying. Remember, he was trying to find the map to get into where she was from. He couldn't find it. So that's kind of why he's doing a lot of the other stuff that he was doing, was behind the scenes trying to find that. Yeah.
And so the thing is, like, I thought it was, so like, even then, grief is something that you can go to therapy for. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So like, yeah, like, and I understand, like, the urge for revenge is serious. It's but on the other side, like, you got to be strong and you got to be an example for your kids.
This man was like hundreds of years old. Like, hey, I'm about to go to no goddamn therapy. But I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah, and essentially what it's telling you is your grief unchecked is going to cause problems. It's going to cause problems not just for you, but it's going to cause problems for the people around you, and it's going to cause problems for people who have to interact with you. And it's going to cause problems for people who have nothing to do with your issues. Take Wanda. Wanda, to me, is actually a decent... Wanda as a villain, I'm here for it. I'm not going to sit here and say that some of the decision-making wasn't a little strange, but Wanda's villain phase, I support it.
So
because I feel like she was a better villain than some of the villains we've gotten.
Thanks.
I agree. But see, my thing with Wanda is you understood why she was doing what she was doing. Now, once again, you may not have been with it, or you may not have had some type of compassion for it, but for me, I understood exactly what she was doing. Because had it been me and my kids, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'll probably be doing the same thing, like anything to get my kids back. You know what I'm saying? So,
I thought was funny was where she was just like, well, hey, what if they get sick? Or so, she's like, that's why I got to get the power from America, because if they get sick or something like that, I need to be able to get them healed. I'm like, damn, bitch, we just can't send you to to a parallel universe or something like that where they don't have a mom? She was like, no, I need all of it.
Yeah.
She said her kids will never be hurt and will never be sick. She'll be able to hop universes and find whatever cure she needs. A parent.
Hey,
a crazy parent, but a parent.
Hey, that's what I say. I say for me, I understood why she was doing what she was doing. I said, I can't condone it, but I understood what she was doing.
Nobody would do that. Did y'all not watch John Q? That nigga held up a hospital for his child. He held up an entire hospital for his child.
Hey, I don't blame him. I do not blame him, bro. That's another thing. Just being an adult, you pay for insurance, and then the insurance you pay for don't cover the shit you got. That's some heartbreaking, evil shit. That's what that is. That's what I mean. But
it is.
I just finished. So let me give a pretext to this statement. So, haven't been able to. Never played the game, The Last of Us. So it got re-released or whatever. I wasn't about to buy the shit, but it's a YouTuber I follow. And cuz I'm not about to pay $70 for no goddamn remake game that just came out. It got remastered 3 or 4 years ago for PS4. Anyway, so I watched one of the YouTubers I follow. He played through the game, so I'm like, fuck it. I'm not gonna play it right now. I don't know if I'm ever gonna play it. And it is a great game, great story. But I'm watching the story, watching them play through or whatever. And the link, I'm not gonna really revealing anything. I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but the guy Joel or whatever, he low key a villain. Like he's low key a villain. Like the way he moves, some of the stuff he's done, and then like once you get through the whole thing, and the ending is a little like, damn, would I have done the same thing or whatever the case may be? But he a villain, bro. Like he tries to redeem himself. He has a little bit of redemption, but I guess you can call it a little bit of redemption. But he a villain.
Well, what I've come to realize as I'm getting older, more and more people are closer to being villains than they think they are.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. I think it's all a matter of perspective, to be honest with you. And then some people can't even fool themselves on perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like they just do stuff because it benefits them. You know who I think are really bad villains? The people who get bit in like zombie movies and then don't tell nobody. And then I think that's so fucking selfish. Like, how are you gonna go ahead and just be like, you know what? It's all right. You know what I mean? Like this little bite ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Yeah, the ones that those really bother me. You got those because there's two kinds of people that get bit in zombie movies. You got the ones that get bit and don't say shit at all and just turn and take out half the rest of the team or whatever. And then you got the people that get bit and right before they die, right before they get ready to turn or something, they do a sacrifice. And, man, they coming. I got them. No, but come on. No, I got them. Look, I got bit already. I got them. Y'all go. I got this. Like, you got those people. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. I hate to see that. And you can always tell the ones that got bit and they ain't saying shit. They start acting real funny.
Yeah, they be like, don't. What you touching me for? Leave me alone.
I'm gonna be honest, y'all.
Go ahead.
In that scenario, if I am in a group and there are people that I do not like and do not trust in this group, and I done got bit, I'm about to pull the people that I like to the side and be like, y'all are gonna want to leave. I'm not telling you why, and don't tell the rest of them. But understand that once you leave, don't come back. Because I'm going to get them. I'm going to handle that.
So what you're telling me is you're going to be the person that be like, hey, Wyatt, you're feeling sick today at school or at work. Don't come to school or work tomorrow.
Oh, 110%. Because my whole thing is, as much as I am a creature born of violence. Like, I feel like in my heart and in my soul, I am a violent creature. The thing is that I understood at a very young age that I cannot be that way my entire life or I'll go to jail. So I forcibly made myself a very passive human being. It was difficult to do. But there are times where it's very noticeable that the peaceful positions that I try to maneuver myself into are not natural to me. So I try not to direct that towards anyone who don't deserve it. So again, I'm not telling nobody that I got bit. But them folks that I don't trust, oh, I got y'all. I got something for you. Give me 20 hours or however long this change is gonna take. Because I just need to convince the ones that I like to get the fuck out. The rest of y'all though? Yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
You ain't got to do you ain't got to do much convincing. You be like, hey, stay, go. It's time for you to go. Okay, say less. Mm-mm.
No, because some people always gotta ask questions. Like the people who are just true and good at heart, because they want to save everybody. Listen, everybody can't be saved. Some people got to get got, and unfortunately for them today, I'm karma. You need to leave.
See, I'm good like that, but then after that, when you give me that look, like, hey, it's time to go. I'm gonna try to ask one or two questions. Like, you sure? Okay. But then when you give me that look, like, hey, it's time to go. All right,
I'm your captain now. You need to leave.
All right. So yeah.
Yeah, I would absolutely be the person that does not tell people I got bit.
Well,
I said we gotta, and like you said, like you said, you can't save everybody. That from the book of Mr. Don't Play, Everything's Working chapter. Don't save her. you don't do it. Like you can't. Like you gotta learn, bro. You can't save everybody. Like you give me that. Hey, you might wanna you might not want to be or you might want to leave, or you whatever you want to say.
All I need to know.
You might want to not be here in the morning. Yeah. Bitch, that's all you got to say. I ain't gonna ask no questions. I interpret what you just said very clearly. I want to shake your hand. Thank you for the warning. Peace be with you.
I'd fist
live long and prosper. I'm gone.
Fist bump. Call it a day.
I don't believe in unnecessary collateral damage.
Hey. I appreciate it. But who else? Another
question is Magneto a villain? Is Magneto a villain though?
I don't say I don't think he's a villain. I say he's more along the lines of maybe of an antagonist role type of role where he's not really. So you have those antagonists. They ain't really villains. They just don't mesh or their views on the line with the protagonist or whatever the case may be. So in this case, I don't think Magneto is a villain for the simple fact of basically he just wanted his people to be treated fairly.
No, he wanted genocide. He wanted genocide for humanity, sir. Depending on, again, he's one of those that depends on when you pick him up.
Correct.
Because there are stories in which he's not a villain in that moment. However, at his core, that man is a villain because he firmly believes that human beings cannot live peacefully with mutants. He is very much a look.
I mean, look at you before you get me.
He's going off
genocide.
It may be, but he's going off what he's been shown, and I technically can't blame that man for that.
You can't blame him for genocide. He gonna kill people that ain't got nothing to do with the argument. He's gonna kill children. Children are gonna die.
Once again,
you understand that, right?
Once again, based off what he's been shown, and what the old folks say, if somebody show you who they are, you gotta believe.
But he's not giving individuals a chance to show who they are. He literally said because other human beings treated him the way that you and your babies are gonna get got. Y'all didn't do nothing to that man.
You may actually be so. Hold on. So here's the thing. So, and I'm gonna play kind of devil's advocate on this one. So if you and the whole Lawson crew, right? You're like, I mess with you, Magneto. He's like, hey, you're human. Y'all gotta go. How right is that?
Once again, let me say this. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand where he's coming from. Like I get his For me, I don't think he's a villain. Like I said, but like I said, once again, I could definitely see how you would put him as a villain. However, I understand his motives or his thought process or the way he is or the way he thinks. I completely understand it.
Yeah, all right. When you turn your face into a puddle like that mayor, I don't want to hear nothing. The man's a villain.
Hey, villain. I understand. I get you. And I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying for me. That's
how I like some of my villains. I want to be able to feel and understand your point. And to his point, his feelings are 100% valid because of how he's been treated. And like you said, if it walk like a duck, look like a duck, sound like a duck, act like motherfucker, it's a duck. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that his motivations are necessarily right. I'm saying that morally speaking, you wrong.
I get that, and I completely agree with you.
He's a villain, but he's a villain I can respect because he's also gonna give you a chance to run your fade. He's not gonna sneak you for real, and that I respect.
No, he ain't never scared.
No. That's one thing. Magneto. What?
Say that again. He'd be like, hold on. No, Polar. No. Quicksilver, chill out. What'd you say again? Okay.
Well, see, that's my only thing. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm like, all right, if you want to kill me just because I ain't got no powers, I feel like that's fair. However, run me my one-on-one, no powers. Square up.
We got to go with these hands. You go at least give me an opportunity to whoop.
Listen, and if I win, you let me live, and you let me pick 10 people.
Yeah. Hey, if we can do that, I'm with it.
Listen, if I win, I get to pick 10 people. My parents and my sister are automatically in the 3. The 7 of y'all, we can talk about it.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Just let me be in the consideration. That's all.
That's all right. That's good. That's all. I appreciate it. Just for me, being thought of is enough for me. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it.
Like it's a lot of people in my life. I got to pick 7 more because them 3 is set. They're not going nowhere.
Hey, I get that. Listen, I completely with you. Completely with you.
So,
go ahead.
Do you consider the Grinch a villain?
I ain't gonna say a villain. Maybe a misguided soul, but not really a villain. I saw a theory the other day where they said the Grinch is Jack from A Nightmare Before Christmas.
I saw that one. Because then after that, like he had died, and then after that became
he forgot, and that's why he wanted to when he found Christmas again, he wanted to be Santa and stuff like that. Yeah.
That doesn't hold up because didn't the Grinch come out way before?
Yes, but I guess they're saying we're saying that the Grinch, he was the Grinch, then he dies or whatever the case may be, and
he becomes like the spirit of Halloween.
Yeah, something like that, and he basically goes through whatever the Nightmare Before Christmas or whatever the case may be. You know what? That's one. I have never seen that movie all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces. Never sat down and watched it.
It depends on which one you watch.
I'm talking about the Nightmare Before Christmas. I've seen the Grinch many times. I've seen all versions of the Grinch. Never seen Nightmare Before Christmas. I've seen bits and pieces.
I've seen it. I don't care for it, but one of my best friends loves it, so I watch it with them. But if I'm not sitting there watching it because somebody else wants to, that will never be on my TV. I didn't like it.
I got you. I just ain't never been. I guess I never really seen the hype behind it. I know people love. This is such a great. I was like,
Is it a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? Where do you put that one?
It's a Christmas movie.
Right, it's about scary stuff. It's a Halloween movie.
I mean, you can put it. I guess put it in either one. I personally like so.
I put it as. Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
Heck.
It's not a scary movie, but it's a Halloween time movie. because he's literally the king of Halloween.
Yeah.
But then he learned, like, it's at the end it has that Christmas feel, but then it doesn't still have that Christmas feel because of the fact that, you know, oh shit, that is a good question.
I say, but I've never actually sat down and watched it to really tell you. Like I have my other favorite Christmas movies I watch. That's not one of them that gets played in my home. Like, man. Now I will watch, which I'm pretty sure is not like I also, one of my first things I love to watch in the Christmas and holidays is the Santa Claus movies with Tim Allen. But like I watch those
Tim Allen over the
years.
It's came to
yeah. I know. Trust me, I understand. Like, but the only leeway he gets is because he played Santa Claus in those movies. That's the only time he gets screen time in my house is that. Man. Other than that,
man, he became a little bit too much Kevin Sorbo-ish. You know what I'm saying?
He did.
Yes, he did.
I'm not surprised by Sorbo, but I was. I want to say I was surprised by Tim Allen, but I'm not sure if I was actually.
I'm not really surprised about Tim Allen. You can kind of go back in the day and pull some stuff like from the show, his show he was on back in the day. But what the hell did Kevin Sorbo do? I miss this.
Let me pull it up. He went like completely like
off the rails.
Oh yeah, like, oh, this is what happened.
Let's just say that he has an issue with the woke agenda.
Yes.
In all aspects of the woke agenda. He don't like the alphabet mafia. He don't like women really. He not feeling it.
No, he doesn't like. He doesn't like anybody that don't look like him.
Well, damn.
Yo, I was going.
And no more reruns of Hercules and the Legendary
Adventures. No more of that.
I ain't never watching that again.
That's why I always rock with Xena anyway. Shit.
I'm with you. I did really love Xena over that. Crazy shit. When you go from watching Xena, I don't know if being a boy or a young kid, you was like, damn, Xena kind of hot. Then you go, as I got older, and you see the lady that plays it, Lucy Lawless, pops up in Spartacus, which is the most. If you've seen Spartacus, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, oh damn. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he was.
I did not. I ain't know about what I'm calling, but he's one of them ones. Like I said, people's true colors show up. You get older.
Surprising.
Yeah. But like I said, only leeway Tim Allen gets. The only time he's on the screen is just Santa Claus. Because I really, really love those movies, man. Like, so it has my child. It's nostalgia in childhood. Right. Has me in a little bit of a headlock, so that's really the only reason. But
Kevin Sorbo had some strokes. Like,
so sad.
Oh yeah, unfortunate.
Don't lie.
I said what I said.
No remorse.
None. I didn't call him, so.
Hey.
Why would I feel remorse for it?
Karma's it's a real thing out here, folks.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like people talking about I need to I said when it comes to the death of like celebrities and big names, I'm not one to be out here making jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
But I also am not one that's gonna be policing people for making them.
Oh yeah. What it was like because when the Queen passed, Twitter was in a frenzy, and it was like, once again, like I don't really joke about people's death, but at the same time, I can understand why a lot of those people were I can understand where those jokes were coming from, or why those jokes were getting thrown, or whatever the case may be.
Irish Twitter.
Hey, Ariel.
1-1. Whoo.
Just
I
that
didn't
world
know. I didn't know that there was beef with that because
like that.
I didn't know.
I mean, what's up, Fluffy Ninja?
It's Fluffy.
Well, how many names do you have?
I'm assuming Ariel's her real name and
You
Fluffy
got
is her.
42 different identities.
Listen, that's how you keep them guessing.
I mean, that's fine. It's not a complaint. I approve.
Hey, is Itachi a villain?
Yes.
He's Itachi is the true savior of the village, man. He's like, I did all this. I ain't gonna say true savior, but you know, I'm just
you this is what you be doing sometimes, bro.
I'm joking about it. But he was.
No, you're not.
I'm not gonna say he was a villain, but he was like, basically he took all that. Like, I'll be that. Like, I'll take the blame for whatever you want to put on me and just do what I do.
Not just that, but the way that he antagonized his brother, like, it's the moves he made after for me that makes him the villain. Because you didn't have to do things like you said with Moderate. You didn't have to do things the way that you did them. You just decided that being
an asshole was easier.
Was the best way to go. And
yes.
No, you wanted to be that guy. Like, maybe you didn't want to be that guy initially, but you stepped into that and you owned every bit of. You're a villain, sir. You may not be the most villainous villain, but you're still a villain at the end of the day.
Yep.
So, okay, but do you guys have any villains that you actually don't think are villains? Like, villain doesn't fit the title?
We already discussed Magneto, but
vehemently disagree with you, but you're not gonna tell me somebody that is in support of genocide is not a villain. I'm sorry.
Hey man, that man has a right.
Genocide. He does not have a right to kill everyone. He has a right to be angry. He has a right to be angry. He has a right to be hurt and frustrated.
If he can change it, he can change. If he has the power to make the change, God damn it, make the change.
He doesn't have a right to genocide. I'm not giving you that. I'm not.
No. I'm messing with you now. But
keep an eye on that man.
I'm trying to think. No, never mind. He was killing folks. Never mind.
Who you?
I was thinking about Slade from My Hero, like the hero killer, but killer is in his name, so I kind of just threw that one out.
He had some. He had some type of.
Fluffy said, time frame wise, Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Harley Quinn, honestly, I don't slate her as a villain. I slate her as somebody who was definitely manipulated and somebody who was twisted into a bad guy. But I mean, like, if you think about it, Harley wasn't really around when they first ran Joker killing Jason Todd, and she was not thrilled when she found out about it. Like, she was disturbed when they finally wrote her into that kind of time frame and story that he killed a child. Like, she was like, no, I'm not feeling that. So yeah, Harley I don't consider to be an actual villain. A bad guy, but not a villain.
I got you. Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Because like he's in there with like that John Q kind of feel to like, I'm doing this just so I can be able to make sure like I can take care of my wife because nobody else is willing to help me.
You know who's a really great villain?
Who?
Azula from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Her father was a pointless villain to me. Like, he was just there in the overarching bad guy because I felt like that's just kind of where they started. But she was the true villain of that show.
I can see that.
I see that. Yeah, and like you can see when Zuko started off as not really a villain, more like just a bad guy because of his situation and his redemption.
Yeah,
that
he was like a
goes
Harley
through.
Quinn. He was misguided.
So
He was kind of brainwashed into a family, and that's why his dad or his uncle was like, "Hey, you know you ain't got to do this, right?"
Okay, I roll.
Yeah. So.
Do y'all have heroes that became villains and you supported the move? Because I got one.
Hey, can I guess yours?
Yeah.
Is it this guy?
It is. It is.
I was gonna bring him up.
I have two. Him and I didn't watch the whole series. I think I watched maybe one episode, about 10 minutes combined, but I know the story. Old girl from Game of Thrones. Daenerys.
There was a lot of women that had rights to really just wreck shit from that point.
She absolutely became a villain at the end of the story, and people were like, "Oh, I remember everybody being very upset about her villain turn as though it was so far left field." And I was like, "No. Again, this is a mental health PSA because look at what happened to this woman." And then she turned around and lost like her last supporting person that wasn't Mr. Snowflake, and had to go through like the black lady.
Yeah, as soon as they cut her head off, they were like, "Oh,
she was done." Like that. That was her last, like I think, kind of support frame for her consciousness. Because Mr. Snowflake was just there to be there, and I guess to like give her babies at some point was going to be the thing. But he really was not a support for her the way that she needed. And case in point, when they lopped old girl's head off, she lost it. And she was like, "Nah, burn it all. Genocide. A villain."
You hear that, Marcus?
Hey,
Fluffy said Seto Kaiba.
Yeah. Wait, was he a good guy that became a villain, or are you answering who's not really a villain? Because I asked two questions and then left them alone.
I'm trying to think that was a good guy. I'm trying to think of somebody that was a good guy and became a villain.
Yeah. I think Eren Yeager.
He's definitely. My man was like, "I just want to kill all the Titans." And then again, that is one of those stories where if you go back and look at it again, you knew what was coming. If you paid attention, that's why I said that Attack on Titan for me was not as exciting as it was for I think everybody else, because a lot of the twists and turns I saw coming.
I haven't made it that far, but
a lot of the twists and turns, like,
it's okay.
You know.
Well, no, she didn't tell anything about what he's done, because he's done some new.
I mean, I haven't read in detail the spoilers, but I've heard just the hints or the things of what happened.
So she's just talking about the first season where he was like, "I want to kill all of them."
Yeah.
Like you knew what was coming. You knew what was coming. If you paid attention to the story, every twist and turn that is in there is not really a twist and turn. And that's why I was like, I don't find this story to be all that interesting. And people were like, "How can you not? There's so many twists and so many turns." No, literally. They told you were about to go left. They told you. But did y'all not follow the story? Or am I missing something? Because I'm not that smart.
But see, I think sometimes, so she's talking about Seto, and she's saying he was a villain, but not a villain.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so with Attack on Titan, like, it made it, like, you thought that it was going to be more of a simplistic show than what it was at first. And then, like, I think that's what kind of threw people, because they thought that it was going to go this way, even though, because like a lot of times they tell you that they're going to go this way, and then after that they end up auto-correcting to make it right, you know what I mean, to follow a path. So then they're like, "You mean that you did this and you really actually did this and you're staying that way?" No.
So do you think, well, I was saying maybe he wasn't what about Obito? he was I don't think he was a villain per se. More so, it was like a bad guy. He got caught in a situation where he was manipulated and turned into, you know. I don't think he was a down outright villain per se.
I think sometimes I think you're thinking of personality versus actions. So your actions make you that way when you do certain stuff like that. So like you just can't be, say, hey, I'm gonna kill, take over this world and different things like that, and still, and like I'm gonna kill everybody and start a new world, a new world war, ninja war, and still be like, oh no, I'm cool. No, I think who was it that I was looking at? What do you feel? All right, so there's two people that are. What do you think about Black Adam? Because he's got a new movie coming out. As is he a villain? I think most of the time when he stays in his made believe country and then just is like, I'm protecting them, and he's not so bad. It's just when he goes out and looking for fights that makes him an issue.
I know a little bit about Black Adam but I'm not as far as well versed about Black Adam. But what you're saying kind of puts me in the mind of he's a straight he a villain, because he be having mastermind shit like it. I was gonna say Doom. Kind of puts me in the mind of Doom, where a lot of times if you're not in that very, or you're not trying to mess with him and that, he alright, but when he gets involved in shit, his plan is always to take over. Like, I don't want to help y'all do this, but after we get through doing what I'm helping y'all do, I'm gonna take over. Like that, what I'm saying? But that was it kind of put me in the mind of Doom, Doom is a villain. Like,
what about Punisher? Is Punisher a villain?
Punisher is I would say anti-hero, antagonist, something like that. But he's definitely not a villain.
What makes a difference between an anti-hero and like a villain? Like, besides point of view.
So
the morality. It's the moral component. It's the set of regulations of how you guide yourself. Typically your villains do not have a moral code of any sort. They about to just do the worst because they gonna do the worst. And they cannot be reasoned with. You can't really have a conversation with them, and that's kind of why I put Magneto firmly in that villain camp for the most part, because you can have as many philosophical, pretty much, like you can have as many philosophical debates with Magneto as you want to have, but at the end of the day, that man is basically the equivalent of like I'm trying to think of who in history you could equate him to, but I don't want to do that because I don't feel like arguing like that for real. But he's basically one of those
Malcolm before the trip to basically he's Malcolm before the trip to before he went to Mecca. That's like basically
and it's basically like, it doesn't matter if you're a good person to him, you're still a human with no power, and therefore you have to die. Sorry, not sorry. A villain.
Malcolm before he went to Mecca.
Yeah, but when you take like characters who have their moral compass and their moral code, like Deadpool, for instance. Deadpool is not going around killing innocent people. He's not going around doing just the absolute most to everyone, but he is over the top. He does not follow like the law itself. If you look at Punisher is not out here killing somebody for jaywalking, but he is about to kill somebody that's, hurting people. He would kill Wilson Fisk. He would kill that man.
That's true.
Why hasn't he though?
I think this is more just plot armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't kill Kingpin like that. But he definitely got his ass whooped at what was it, Daredevil season 2?
Yeah.
Oh.
Matt Murdock said, "Come here."
Mm-hmm.
And then Kate blew him up in Hawkeye.
Who else?
I was thinking about Game of Thrones. KB, you brought it up, and the one person that was like the true villain of that show.
Oh, hands down.
Was who do you think? Who are you going?
The true villains
Raspberry
of that
slush
show.
with legs.
I said the two villains of that show for me were Cersei and motherfucking Joffrey.
Yeah.
I don't know who that other guy is, but yes, that broad. I know her. That's
her
the
son.
one. Okay.
Her son, who was her son.
So it was three people from you had Cersei, Joffrey, and then the guy that
said she loves Deadpool because he is with the shit.
Always. I can't think of his name. He was
the blue raspberry slush with legs. I hate him.
Oh, you talking about the White Walker? No.
He wasn't even in it until like the very, very end of the series.
I'm talking about
I want justice for Viserion. All right. And
I
until that happens, everybody involved on that show needs to come see me.
I'm sorry. I thought it was cool. Cool as an ice dragon. That's just me. But
I'm not saying that wasn't cool. I'm saying that they could have at least brought him back to life. They could have fixed him. I'm mad about it.
I saw there's some hurt behind that, but
yes,
I can't think of the guy's name. He and I think Jon Snow.
Oh, his dad. The dad.
No. He was dark hair. He took their friend or whatever and made like chained him up to it with his dogs or whatever.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Him. Because he had I think he kidnapped Sansa at one point or something like that.
Yes, and then he also fed the dog. Yeah, took off this guy's member.
Yes, and he was trying to. I think he tried to kill the little brothers.
He did. He didn't try. Well, he got him.
I thought somebody else. I was trying to remember how they. I can't remember how they died, but yeah, okay.
Because remember, he told him to run, and then after that, when he told him to run, he started shooting arrows at him. And little kid didn't know how to duck or weave. He just ran in a straight line and got
zigzag.
He didn't zigzag. He didn't zig nor zag, or maybe he zagged when he was supposed to zig.
You said it was a little kid.
Yes,
they were younger. I can't think of the guy's name, but yeah, him.
I got a picture of the bad people in Game of Thrones. One moment, please.
Definitely villains. Yep, the top right.
Mm-hmm.
You looking at and Littlefinger. You can call Littlefinger was definitely like he had villain tendencies.
He played the game, and so then after that was the issue. And but Joffrey was a son of a bitch, and then
like Joffrey
his
was
mama.
Joffrey
his mama / aunt
was.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Yes,
that's exactly what it. But Joffrey was.
What's her name again?
Cersei.
Cersei. So Cersei was fucking her twin brother.
Basically, Joffrey and
incest all in there.
Yes, that it wasn't.
Everybody.
He was supposed to be was Robert. Supposedly, Robert Baratheon was his father, but everybody knew that Jaime was his actual dad,
which was his uncle daddy.
Awkward.
It was weird.
His dunkle. No,
Dunkle?
Like dad uncle.
Daddy uncle.
I mean, Game of Thrones started out so good. They started pushing kids out of windows in the first episode.
Ooh, bro, I remember that. Like I remember. My thing is, I ain't gonna get into that. But yeah, I remember that. Like, and they tried to redeem Jaime, but it was like, bro, you too far gone.
Yeah.
Plus he
couldn't get over his sister.
Could not.
It was nasty.
Yeah.
And when I tell you Cersei was a true, real life.
Yeah, that's a villain.
Ooh, Yes, somebody you love to hate. Like you just yeah. Man, what?
That's a villain.
To this day.
To this day. Oh.
My favorite thing was her ringing the bell and Witch Collar being like, "Do you hear a bell? I don't hear a bell. Burn it all to the ground anyway." And she was just like, "Oh man, this is the consequence of my actions." What no?
Mm-hmm.
He deserved every bit of it.
Man, when she started getting
the moment she realized that there would be no saving her, she was just like, "Oh, well, this sucks."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. She deserved every bit of it. Trying to think who else. Just had one. I don't know. One of my favorite villains or bad guys is Oroku Saki, the Shredder. Who else? Who else we got? Another one from the Star Wars universe, Darth Maul.
But see, I didn't feel like he was bad, but he wasn't like he didn't do anything to show me like how evil he was. You know what I mean? He was just bad by default.
I think you got more of that from him appearing in like the later stuff, like the Clone Wars and stuff like that. You kind of see him doing different things or doing different stuff through those series. You got a little bit more story behind them instead of because he just basically just showed up in the Phantom Menace and wrecked shop, ended up killing Qui-Gon Jinn and or whatever the case may be. And but you get a little bit more story from him or about him in like I think it was Clone Wars, and he also showed up in Rebels and some other. I think those were the main two or whatever. But who else we have? So would you look at? I'm pretty much assuming he is. Or I guess you have to look at him as a villain. But Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, he'd be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
Pretty mm-hmm.
Apocalypse definitely a villain.
Since we were talking about Star Wars, some people may disagree. Well, some people may agree. So, Kylo Ren, definitely still a yes, you can see Doctor Strange as a villain. He cares not about anybody else but himself. Like KB said, he had a Phase 4 movie, and it was another one about mental health.
I believe
no, I don't think Strange is a villain. I think there's a very specific variant of Strange that is a villain, but Strange in and of himself is just an egotistical ass. And being an egotistical ass may make you an asshole, but it doesn't necessarily make you a villain. It may make you a bad person on some level, but it doesn't make you a villain. And at the end of the day, Strange's whole thing was, even with him being an asshole, at the end of the day, it was the value of like the question you posed in the group. Do you sacrifice this to save the greater collective? And Strange is always going to sacrifice you to save the collective. He is always going to do the lesser of the two. And when somebody's like, well, what gives him that right? The fact that he holds that stone kind of gives him that right, because he's the only one who can see all of the alternatives.
I got one that's completely just evil.
Homelander.
He's horrible.
Very much so. I haven't even watched all of The Boys, and I just like the few. I've only seen like maybe 3 episodes of the first season, but just from that alone, I see how terrible Homelander is. Talk about. I'm trying to think who else is considered considered a villain. And I was trying to think of somebody who went from being good to being bad or being a villain. It was somebody I had in my mind, but I can't think of from what though.
I don't know. I've been trying to go through a couple of them. Not really seeing anything.
Yeah, it's hard. Like it's hard finding. So another one? Would you consider maybe an anti-hero? Would you consider Venom an anti-hero more so?
Depends on when you get to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For some of these, I think we're gonna have to start going by like collective span of lifetime at some point, because Venom definitely started as a villain.
Definitely.
You mean him?
And then you're petty, sir.
You're like that. I'm sorry. I'm done.
But
Not
like
really.
he definitely started as a villain,
Mm-hmm.
and then became more of an anti-hero later. And I think that's because people started liking him more when he was trying to do the right thing, which is why I think that's the version of Venom we got for the movies, was him trying to be good instead of getting the original concept, which was I'm gonna kill you.
You know what I really wish that they would do? I think they should leave the character as it is. You know what I mean? So like if he's gonna be bad, let him be bad, and then just have him have stories where he just does bad stuff to people, and not necessarily make it so that you have to feel like it's justified. If you want to kill somebody, you just want to go ahead and kill somebody.
But see, I think you start to run into some different types of walls when you do this with your characters. And there are only so many stories that you can tell, especially when you're doing like comics. It's different if you're doing like, a novel series, or it's different if you're doing, like a TV, like, 1 or 2 season type thing. But once you start factoring in comics where you have so many runs with this character, you can only have them doing terrible things for so long before the stories really start to get stale. So you if you want your character to stand the test of time, they have to have some kind of growth and transition. And I think that's what happens with a lot of our villains when they have like their own stories that continue. You have to see some sort of change, or the story's gonna die.
I just get tired of them turning villains into superheroes or anti-heroes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
But I mean,
that's what you don't end up
that's really
having.
all you can do, though. You either do that, or your villain is going to have to be recycled and retconned, and you're gonna have to, because think about it. How often do we see the Joker, and the Joker is doing the same things for the most part? Like, there's Joker fatigue, in all honesty. And people don't want to admit that, but it really is what it is. Like, you're gonna go see it because, it's Batman, you're gonna get my money, but once you see the movie, you're gonna be like, all right, it was okay, but could we have done it? Like, you can only go so far with these characters when they stay in these roles. That's kind of why I was arguing about like Hulk when people were mad about him being Smart Hulk. I was like, y'all have to remember, in order for us to continue to get this character, he has to change. If he doesn't, there's no point to him still being here. Hulk serves no purpose in the stories that they're telling if he stays angry and doesn't learn his fucking lessons. It's the same thing with your villains. Like, at some point, they have to either grow or they're going to be left behind, because you can only talk about Carnage killing people so many times before it's like, okay, well, that's boring. That's what he does. All right, cool. Next villain.
They must have really shitty jails throughout comics, because they always getting out. Like, always.
I think at one point it was supposed to be a testament to how smart some of them were that they could get out. But if you notice, they stopped giving you how they got out and just told you to accept the fact that they did. Because again,
listen, this nigga just got out, all right? Come on.
Don't ask us no questions of how this happened. Just know that he did. But you're starting to see a little bit of variation in stories where you're getting, okay, well, how did this person get out? Well, originally we were going to cut a deal, but they agreed to the deal. But then when we got into the car, they beat all our asses collectively and then ran off. Like, yes, that is something that does happen, but we haven't gotten the story like in movies where that's happening. Like, if you gave us Suicide Squad, but they decided to fuck Waller's stuff up and dip, Like that completely changes the story.
Yeah.
Speaking of, she was also a really good villain.
She was.
She played
was
that
really
role perfectly too, because I hate her. That was fantastic.
You know who was a really good villain that I thought never really got the shine that he really deserved? Cottonmouth from Luke Cage. They killed him off way too soon.
It did, and that's another one because I feel like they could only go so far with him, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
They had to kill him before he got stale.
I can see that, but I get what Wyatt is saying as well. Like he was pretty good or really good as a villain, and you were thinking maybe he could have got. I don't know if he would have. I don't know if he could have made it to season two, a second season with him.
Well, they killed him off halfway between the first season. So what I'm saying is, like, at least let him have because they had a lot of built up stuff that just went unresolved. You know what I mean? Because they both had two different ways of quote unquote protecting the hood, but neither one of you know what I mean. But what's his cousin killed him off beforehand.
Black Mariah.
Yeah. So,
but ultimately, that's because she was supposed to be the villain.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be the point. Like he was supposed to drag you in. He was not the main villain of the season. She was. I feel like the problem is he did a better job than they were expecting, and his character was more loved than people thought it was going to be. So that's where you kind of ran into this dichotomy of, oh shit, well now we got to kill him because we had already put it in. I don't like how they did whatchamacallit with the Fast and Furious series. The dude who plays Han's character was never supposed to come back, but people loved him so much that they had to go back and write him back into the stories. Because he showed up and he was supposed to just be in Tokyo Drift, and that was it. But when he hit that story, fans were enamored with him, so they actually started going back and putting him in stories. He was never supposed to be there, and I think that's kind of what happened with Cottonmouth, which people just were pulled to how well he handled the character. They wanted more, but you only had so much script to go. He wasn't supposed to be that good,
and that's why they made him Blade.
That's literally, they were like, we dropped the ball here.
Let's pick it back up, and because hopefully they do something with him with Blade, but I just felt like they just put him in something because they were like, he's too good of an actor for us not to have him in Marvel. Let's give him any black character. Oh, we can't do. Let's think. Let me think. Okay, Blade. There we go. I mean, because Wesley Snipes was that old when he was playing. Yeah, I was like, nah, it's a different thing.
Right.
Yeah, I would say with Wesley though, you gotta. Even though he was older when he was playing Blade, but Wesley knows, like, he's a martial artist. He knows.
I'm agreeing with you completely because, like, I don't think it's a good fit for him to play Blade. I think they honestly should have gotten somebody younger, and I think they should have had somebody younger than like late 20s, early 30s to play that role. And because he could have been an early Blade, learning how to do everything from that point.
I get that. This, but that's what Marvel, how they choose that act. Like choose some of the actors you would want them to maybe go the younger route. But I get they get. I guess they have plans in mind of how long their actor's going to be there or what they're going to do with them. So, but because I definitely would have. I like what they did with Spider-Man with Tom Holland. You got him young, you got the movies out the way, you got these first movies from his first 3 movies basically with him in high school. He's out of high school, so you actually have time to maybe give us another trilogy of Spider-Man movies with him being an adult. A full-grown adult or whatever the case may be. He's not in high school, college, whatever. You get that. We can actually get that Spider-Man or whatever.
Absolutely.
So.
All right, y'all. So, any last points on villains?
I did a whole thread at one point of what your favorite villain says about you. And I really had fun with that. I think I might transition it over to our Blurred Syndicate Twitter page.
And there we go. And you let me know so I can be able to put it on the other ones as well.
It's a lot of them.
I know it is.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot. So, well, what other? Let me think. I don't think anything else. Villains, I think, are very key to any good storyline. You just can't throw nobody in there and just all willy-nilly think that it's gonna be okay. So you got to give us good villains, because if you don't have good villains, you don't have a good story.
Facts. If your villains are trash, scrap your story.
Exactly. All right, y'all. So until the next time, we will see y'all later. Be like the Hulk, smash that follow button, and we will love you 3000. We're gonna be like the NWO, but not like Hulk Hogan, because F Hulk Hogan. And we 2, 3.